after winning a treble in South Africa, finishing the quarterfinals, towards the end of the CAF Champions League, eventually knocked out by Al Ahly. He has now signed for Al Ahly. He arrives there, they win the league. Yes, the league was already done. Yeah. He's looking at the semi-final of the Champions League for Al Ahly. Then you have a change in the setup of the technical team of Sundowns. He took along with him, the fitness trainer. The man has made sure Sundowns players look lean and mean as they've been. And plus, the man that analyzes the team also has gone with him. With the new setup that Sundowns has now, given the number of players that are signed, remember all these players were signed with Pitso sitting at the helm of Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yes.
Those players that are coming in, from your Margeman to your Kapinga to all those players that have been signed, Ricardo Goss has done very well for himself, Mukif Mutupa, Domingo. Before we even got to the last players they signed now, Shalulile and Vala arriving, they're already sitting on 11 players. They've now gone to 16 players or so forth. How do those players fit in the Sundowns team? And I understand that Manqoba Mnqithi was there as well as Rulani Mokwena. They were there when those players were being signed. Do you think they will have the same plan for those players as Pitso? Will it be a continuation? Or are they going to have to rethink and reshape the way they think? Because now they've got Steve Komphela as well, who have joined the technical team.
I think it's going to be more of a reshaping of the ideas. I think within the fresh blood actually being thrown in with another head actually being on the team, it's going to have maybe a different perspective. As they said, that the coach is actually Steve Komphela came in as a technical director, so to say. So I think he's got an eye for all those other players and then he knows them. So within whatever that they've signed, I think he's got a picture because Manqoba and Steve, they are more or less in the same line of thoughts. So actually it will be easier for them to work around the squad. No matter how big it is, for them it's a good headache because they've got one of the most quality players that they have on the helm.
Manqoba Mnqithi has been there for the longest of time, so you understand exactly what the players they have are capable of doing. And when you go and when you visit people that are cooking and they're always sitting there, they always talk about too many cooks who spoil the broth. Let's talk about Steve Komphela's position, because I understood when we had the co-coaches, Rulani Mokwena and Manqoba Mnqithi, a lot of us were saying these are two good coaches. Will they work together as co-coaches? That's number one. Remember at Pare, they tried something similar to that. When you had Rulani alongside Micho.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a conflict there situation. Now, you have the two of them working. You have Steve Komphela coming in to join them. What is going to be Steve's role? Let's talk about his role as coming to Sundowns.
I think on a technical perspective, actually Steve is actually going to be the one that actually give the detailed planning in terms of how the philosophy, how he maintains the philosophy of the team that needs to be upheld. And with Manqoba being the longest and Rulani knowing the culture, it could be a power in terms of a power clash, but I don't see it happening because these guys know each other, which is Manqoba and Steve. So I'm sure also Manqoba put in a word for Steve because they are good friends. So within, he would have felt that, okay, let me bring Steve since I know him, because Pitso brought Manqoba to Sundowns because he felt that was the person that he can work with. So for me, I think it's not going to be much of a problem. It could arise at a later point, but knowing these two, they can actually have a good balance because these two coaches, which is Manqoba and Steve, they are both teachers, so they understand the dynamics very well.
And Rulani is a student of the game indeed, so he will be looking to come in there. Sundowns have been controlling the league in South Africa. Pitso is no longer there. Pirates and Chiefs, everybody was saying that they need to gang up to try and stop the Pretoria Soccer League teams from taking everything. Will they fight that hard? Will they be able to fight that hard as they've done? Or is just because it's a culture that's there at Sundowns now, it's not going to change? And how will the two other giants you're talking about, your Chiefs and the Pirates, how will they come to try and neutralize the team that has been a powerhouse for the longest of time?
Yeah, I think what works for Sundowns is actually they start their plans early. So it doesn't help with the other teams trying to catch up, not knowing, not actually having their first brick being laid. So within that being said from them, I think they need to actually to look back because Sundowns actually started this way longer than the other teams. So their winnings now a benefit of whatever that they've put into plan. Now all the plans are coming to fruition, and it's all about now that they have to get the other the continuation going.
Yeah.
So with other teams that are actually below, they still needs to get their structures properly and actually trying to, when they want to compete with Sundowns. Sundowns is ahead in terms of they also have the financial muscles as well. So the other teams, it's not that they are handicapped, but also they have critical people that are actually involved on that technical stuff, which is from your scouting point of view. And actually making sure that they're trying to keep the religion or the tradition of the club, getting players that are young into the team as early as they can, so that they can have continuation. If team that they can have more continuation like that, they can then now match up with Sundown.
Right, I mean, if you talk about it, talking about the culture of the team and everything else, there's already one of the players in Sundowns, Maghalwa, is being nominated also, the youngster.
Player, yes.
So we know that they've done very well. And Pito said a lot about that young man. There's also another player, Mkulise, whom they call him Pito, that young man. So he says Pito is also there to show and do what they can do. Now we have TTM that have gone out to the market. They're signing players.